Hi, this is my battle report of the Flintloque Escape from the Dark Czar Scenario 3. Trust in the Emperor and keep your powder dry. By the way, if you haven't seen my battle reports 1 and 2 of the Escape from the Dark Czar starter set for Flintloque, I'm going to put the links in the description below, so I recommend that you check those out. In this scenario, the Sendu survivors have to fight against the savant zombies from the Winchlands. So it's about surviving and eliminating the entire enemy force, but there's also a special rule. Keep your powder dry. Because of the rain and the water vapor, it's quite easy for some moisture to get into the barrel or the powder pan. So there is a small chance that is you roll a d10 and on a result of 1, 2, 3 or 4, the shot is wasted and the gun must be reloaded, so you cannot count that you will be able to fire accurately or reliably. However, this only happens in the first shot. There is a variation to make this a bit more frequent, but with the standard scenario rules as it is, it only happens in the first shot. Now let's talk about the participants of this battle. On the Ferrach section, that is the Sendu survivors, we have the General de Brigade, Hugo Sendu. He is great at close and mid-range type of combat, although you may want to keep him most of the time at mid-range because he cannot take too many wounds. Only 2 wounds and he goes down. He is actually the fastest character of the entire section, which is quite curious because he loves food quite a bit. He's quite chubby, but he is the fastest of all of the characters. He can also use his soup to heal his comrades when they are wounded. However, because he's wielding a pistol, he's not very good at long range, so you have to keep that in mind, but nonetheless he is essential. As long as he is on the battlefield, his followers will not freak out when things become too dangerous. And then we have Soldaten Helmut Jochen. This is the sniper of the team. Because of his magic ability, he can move around and he always counts as he is aiming. That is, otherwise you need to have an aim action to get a bonus every time you fire, but he is always aiming with almost perfect accuracy. So it's a great character to move around and snipe from a distance. He's just decent at close quarters combat, so it's better to keep him at a safe distance, especially because he can cover quite a bit of ground. He's only second to Sendu in mobility. And then we have Soldat Ajag Kinde 2. Now he is the rookie of the team. He is not good at close quarters combat. He is not armed with a firearm, so you want to keep him out of fights whenever possible because his true value comes from the standard that he's carrying, blessed by Emperor Modred himself, and also he can play his drum, so he's about giving the other characters bonuses with those important morale-based checks. And then we have Captain Voil Umfrash. He is great at close quarters combat and long range as well because of his Canonderbus. He also takes quite a bit of damage before going down. However, he's not very fast when moving around, and his accuracy is not that great, and he needs 2 turns to reload his Canonderbus. However, he is also equipped with his eyeglass, so he can actually change a hit roll to a miss. So if he gets hit, or one of his allies gets hit, he can change that to a miss, so it's a very useful ability. However, he can only use it once per game. Just like, for example, Sendu's ability to heal his comrades can only be used once per game. It's also important to note that the Soldat Ajag Kinde 2, the drummer boy, needs to stay 10 centimeters close to another member of the Ferrach section. If possible, he needs to stay close to Hugo Sendu. Now let's talk about the Witchlands section, composed of the savant zombies. First we have Captain Igor Preserovich. He is armed with a pistol, so you want to keep him at mid-range or close quarters combat. He has a disability. He needs He makes a D10 roll at the start of each of his activations, and if he rolls a 1, he cannot act that turn. He's troubled by his memories when he was alive. And then we have the other Savant zombies, such as Azimovo. And most of the Savant zombies are armed with standard muskets. However, they are not proficient in their use, so they are quite terrible at using them. Nonetheless, they can still attack at a certain distance, and they take quite a bit of damage. But they are not the most elite when compared, for example, with the members of the Sandu Survivors faction. So Azimovo is armed with a sword and a musket, just like Bolshov, and Gorkinov, although Gorkinov needs to take 2 turns to reload his weapon because he only has a right hand, his left hand is missing. There's also Yelagin, and just like Presevich, Vodkavich is also armed with a pistol, so you want to keep him again at mid-range or close quarters combat. In general, the zombies are quite sturdy, but not as skilled when fighting up close and personal or at range. So in this mission, the Sandu survivors start at the center of these ruins. Some ruins dedicated to some forgotten god. At the center of the ruins, there is a campaign table. And it's noteworthy to mention that if you want to add a bit more realism to your games, the Alternative Armies website, they sell a campaign table, and I'm going to show you some images of it. So it looks really beautiful, really nice. So if you're someone who wants to add a bit more flavor to your battles, you may want to consider getting this one. The zombies start outside of the ruins, so it's going to be a very intense battle. Because the survivors, at first glance, they count with the advantage of having cover almost immediately. However, they can get boxed in, or they could get surrounded and attacked from different sides. During the first turn, the undead won the initiative. Presevich and Vodkavich took cover, and Sandu decided to move into cover, and he fired at Presevich, but he missed. Boyle moved into the other side, taking cover as well, and he took a shot at Vodkavich, scoring a hit. He actually inflicted 4 hits of damage. It's important to note that Boyle can change from 2 types of ammunitions. One that is more on the area of effect side of things, and the other one is just a standard but very powerful shot. And he decided to use this shot because he couldn't count with the zombies piling up together in a single section of the ruins. Azimovo and Yelagin decided to move forward, ready to flank. Helmut decided to flank on his own, keeping a safe distance, while Ajay began to beat on his drum and keeping that standard up. Bolshov and Gorkinov decided to move next to their comrades, and they were confident that Sandu and Voil had to reload, so they weren't exactly exposed to enemy fire. Vodkavich was heavily wounded during this turn because of Boyle's shot. Later on, Presevich took a shot at Sandu, but he missed. And then he backed away immediately behind full cover. Vodkavich was too shaken up by the attack of Boyle to act. Sandu decided to move further back again into cover. Boyle moved to shield Ajay. Gorkinov began to move dangerously close and half into cover, but he didn't fire because he actually double marched. Bolshov slow marched and managed to hit Boyle with his shot, but it bounced off the ogre's tough hide. Ajay stopped drumming and he decided to hide behind the wall. Helmut moved swiftly and took a shot at Gorkinov. He inflicted 3 hits of damage. Azimovo and Yelagin continued their flanking maneuver. Later on, Sandu double marched all the way back. Boyle backed away too. Yelagin moved and tried to fire at Helmut, but the snow got in his musket. This was the first time that that rule actually affected one of the combatants negatively. So he failed that shot, and now he had to reload. Asimov moved and fired at Ayer, but Voil used his eyeglass, and so Ayer managed to duck just in time. It was a miss. Helmut decided to back away again, with Sendu. Ayer joined them. He also moved close to them. Gorkinov lost his nerve, and he almost fled the battlefield. Bolshov marched forward, while Przerovich reloaded, and Botkovich marched forward as well. Boyle kept backing away, and while Sandu reloaded. Yelagin moved and barely missed Sandu. Botkovich moved behind cover, and Helmut decided to reload. Ayer began to beat on his drum behind Helmut, giving them some bonuses, and Asimovo and Bolshov reloaded. Przerovich and Gorkinov decided to advance. Later on, Helmut moves and fires on Yelagin, scoring 2 hits. Boyle moves to shield Ayer, and Botkovich decided to move closer behind cover. Asimovo moved closer as well to Ayer and Boyle. Ayer kept beating on his drum, and he moved a bit further back, closer to Sendu. Sendu charges at Botkovich and eliminates him. Przerovich stalks behind cover. Bolshov too. Yelagin staggered forward. He wasn't having a very easy time because he was taking enemy fire. And Gorkinov moves forward as well. Sendu moved forward and he managed to hit Asimovo. Helmut moves behind Voil, while Asimovo stumbles forward with trouble. Bolshov moves closer. Ayer moves closer to Helmut and keeps beating on his drum, while Boyle reloads. Przerovich and Gorkinov move closer, while Yelagin freaks out and backs away. Gorkinov decided to move and shoots at Ayer, but he misses. Bolshov moves and shoots, and he managed to hit Sandu in the back, scoring 3 hits, so Sandu would die later on in that turn. Ayer decided to move closer to Sandu and beats on his drum to help him act despite having been wounded. Sandu moves with his last breath and shoots at Przerovich, but he misses. Yelagin reloads. Asimovo is too shaken up to act. Voil and Helmut reload. Przerovich fires at Voil, scoring 1 hit. Sandu dies, and this gets the survivors in quite a mess. They are all shaken because of his death, and Voil needs to take charge. He's the second in command. Helmut moves close to Ayer, and he shoots at Asimovo, scoring 2 hits. Boyle charges at Bolshov and manages to inflict 1 hit of damage. Gorkinov charges at Ayer, and this was a great surprise because the drummer boy actually scored 2 hits on him. So the drummer boy really was swinging that standard with all of his might. Later on, Asimovo staggers forward towards Ayer. Ayer lost his cool despite doing so well in close quarters combat, and he has to back away. Yelagin double marches forward, and Przerovich moves towards Helmut. Bolshov marches in the direction of Ayer. Przerovich charges at Helmut, but Helmut pulls out his knife and kills Przerovich. Now the zombies are in trouble. Their leader has just died. Bolshov runs away a bit, and Boyle charges at Asimovo and kills him. Helmut attacks Gorkinov with his knife, inflicting 3 hits. Gorkinov decides to flee from the battle. He is eliminated. Yelagin gets behind cover. With the loss of Przerovich and the others, the Zabant zombies are all shaken up. So Bolshov immediately fled from the battle, and later on Yelagin too. It was a triumph for the Zendu survivors. Now let's analyze some key moments of the battle. I think the zombies did great at being so aggressive, getting into the ruins immediately, taking advantage of their initiative and trying to put pressure on the Zendu survivors. It was also a good idea to begin flanking, moving around the ruins to surround the Zendu survivors, so they were forced to get out of the ruins as quickly as possible. When they got out of the ruins immediately, I think that the Zendu survivors did a great job, but it was not a good idea to move Sendu forward. He should have kept his distance because despite doing some really good damage, he got killed. And you need Sendu alive to inspire the others and to heal them if possible with his soup. I think it was a mistake on the zombies' part that they didn't kept their distance. Because they were 6, they could have handled sort of like a system of attacking when a first line fired and then that line recharged and the other or reloaded and the other fired again. So they should have kept a steady wave of fire constantly, not giving the chance to the survivors because they were only 4 and of the Sendu survivors only 3 are armed with firearms. So they will have a really hard time reloading and returning fire. So I think that was the decisive point of the battle. When the zombies got a bit too close, even though at first it looked like the Sendu survivors would be defeated because the moment they lost Sendu, the zombies were still pretty much intact despite being wounded. So I think that was the key moment where the zombies should have backed away and kept attacking them from a distance, and maybe that would have forced the Sendu survivors to go inside the ruins again and take cover. So it was a really exciting battle, and because there is no turn limit in this battle, maybe it could have lasted perhaps 5 more turns if things developed in the other way, as I was telling you, that the survivors went back into the ruins and the zombies kept their distance firing. Nonetheless, really exciting. I'm also surprised that the moisture or the wetness didn't get into the barrels of the Flintloque, and most of the shots came out quite smoothly despite that moment at the beginning when one of the zombies couldn't shoot because of it. So in general, both the favor of Emperor Mordred and the Star Wraith were on their respective sides. Really exciting battle. And well, thanks for watching this battle report. Remember to check out the Alternative Armies website and to check out the links in the description below if you haven't seen my review of the starter set and my other battle report. I will bring out more Flintlock related material later on, perhaps in 2 or 3 months. Expect more reviews of miniatures, of the more starter sets, and battle reports as well. Well, thanks for watching this battle report once again. If you have any comments or questions, please let me know. See you later.